Yo, what's going on guys, Arekkz here, and welcome back to another video for the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. You guys should know by now, this is the game that I'm looking forward to above all else. I absolutely love Zelda, and anytime I hear or see anything new for Breath of the Wild, it's crazy. And today were the Video Game Awards, and during that, they had a load of world premieres, and one of the trailers they showed was a new trailer for Breath of the Wild, which you guys are seeing in the background, plus at the latter part of the award ceremony, they also showed us some gameplay of a new area, so we got to see lots of new stuff today, and in this video, I want to kind of go through and break down some parts of the trailer, talk about a few things, and also sneak in a bit from the kind of gameplay segment as well. But do expect some more in-depth videos over the coming weeks, basically once I get back. I'm currently over in LA at the moment, so I'm recording this from my hotel room, so if the audio sounds a little bit echoey, I do apologise. But as mentioned, in this video, we're going to go through some of the important things, and then I will follow up later with much more detail. So if you guys do enjoy this, like would be super appreciated. Comment down below if you have any questions, and of course if you guys are super hyped. But to begin with, the trailer we got was actually pretty short, but what it did show was a lot more life in the world. One thing you guys might have noticed was during E3, the demo all took place in what was called the Plateau, this big kind of open area, which represents about 1% of the overall map size, but it was purposely devoid of any kind of NPCs, any towns, anything that would sort of hint at the story. So there was basically Link, enemies, and the open world. So it was a very barren environment, purposefully built to let people test out the environment, to let people try out the mechanics, to let people try out things like that, and not in any way, shape, or form spoil the story. So the trailer now actually shows us a living, breathing world with NPCs, human characters, other races, animals, enemies, new places, things like that. So it's really, really exciting to actually see the world come to life, see it populated, and just see villages and towns and just loads of things that are staples in Zelda games that, you know, you come to expect, things that you look forward to visiting, but to actually see them in the trailer is super exciting. One of the things we saw quite early on as well is Link with yet more gear, because we know that in this iteration of the game, you can of course equip loads of different styles of, you know, armor, clothing that you have. Sometimes that will give you different benefits in different situations. You can have different weapons. And in this particular clip, Link actually has a pretty hefty backpack. So I don't know whether that is to kind of signify more bag space or whether that's kind of tied to a specific kind of part of the story. Either way, wearing something new. But one of the really interesting things actually comes in this scene here. If you pause it right here, this bird character signifies two potentially very important things. The first of which is the return of the race, the Rito, which were the bird people in the Wind Waker, and given that we've seen the Korroks coming back, it's very likely that we'll also see other returning races. It's obviously not confirmed at this stage whether these are the Rito or whether they are a different race entirely, but given that we've had bird people in the past, I would be willing to bet it is one of those. Also, he kind of looks a little bit like Falco, but more interestingly and more to the point, this could be a very interesting character. You'll notice how he's got a blue scarf on, which is the same colour, same tone as Link's tunic. And from what you'll see later in the trailer, that seems to be a very important colour. It seems to be typically tied to characters that are relevant. But one of the more interesting things, and this is of course a stretch, this is something we don't know just yet, but could well be possible, and that is this character Rome? For those of you guys that don't know the kind of lore of the story, Rome is a mystery knight, so to speak, that appeared in the Link to the Past comic, and he actually took on a bird form when he entered the Dark World, and basically Rome challenged Link for the Master Sword, didn't really think he was worthy. I will go into that in much more detail at a later date, but if they do go down this route and they make him a notable character and he ends up being Rome, that could be incredible. That would be super cool to see, but as mentioned, at this stage we don't know. He could just be a random NPC. That is a bird that just leads you to where you want to go, because he then flies off to this floating ship, fortress, whatever you want to call it, in a sort of bird shape in the sky. So that is a new location. And then the next thing, this gets very, very interesting. This is very clearly a female character holding what appears to be the Sheikah Slate. And her attire is pretty much identical to Link's. And if she wears these clothes and she has a Sheikah Slate, could this mean that there's going to be a female playable character in the game? Is it going to be like an either or? Maybe at the beginning of the game you actually get to choose, which would of course be a huge change for the Zelda series. We of course saw Linkle in Hyrule Warriors and whatnot, and there has been a game in the past where you played as Zelda, although we don't really talk about the Philips CDI games. So either way, very exciting, or maybe there's a co-op side to it. We really don't know at this stage. However, that is clearly a female character in that kind of same noteworthy blue clothing style, so that could lead to something very exciting. Of course, following on from that, you get the kind of typical devastation scene, so there's obviously some big force here, whether it be Ganon, whether it be someone else who's of course wreaking havoc. And we then get to see part of the world in ruins. Another interesting question for this section is that the existing world that's been decimated, or are we now looking at another kind of dark world so to speak, like a sort of alternate dimension. That is something that we have yet to discover, and of course, if that did transpire to be true, that would further reinforce the whole Rome theory from earlier. But then the final scene is, of course, Link kneeling down here with a character to his right. Again, that sort of blue tone is coming through, but they are wearing different clothes to the first female character, so whether this one here standing to the right is Zelda, or again, is someone else entirely, could it be a co-op character you can play as, or could it just be something tied to the story? So many questions right now, no answers, and I expect it's going to be quite a while until we actually get any solid answers, because realistically, we probably won't hear anything now until next year. However, a couple more things I do want to sneak in. During the latter part of the award ceremony, when they showed some gameplay, we got to look at a brand new area, we got to see some other returning enemies, so we got to see the Lizalfos, and they appear to have some really cool new abilities, the ability to camouflage with the environment, the ability to kind of fire out this AoE thunder attack that kind of shocks you in place. We of course see Link wearing more armor again, and also in the brand new area we get to see another one of those Rito, which I'm assuming are the bird people. This time a much bigger character, bird on steroids, playing an accordion, teaches you things, and of course helps you out with puzzles. But that, for the time being, was a quick look at the trailer and some of the additional gameplay. As mentioned, I will be following up probably next week once I'm back with some much more in-depth videos talking about different segments of these trailers and the kind of gameplay segments. So if you do want to find out more about Breath of the Wild and you do want to stay up to date, then definitely stay tuned, because there will be lots more Zelda stuff coming on this channel. But for the time being, thank you for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. If you guys have different ideas, also let me know. But either way, thanks for watching, take it easy, catch you next time, peace out.